We have also improved infrastructure with Kakuma and Dadaab towns promoted to full municipality status, facilitating rapid access to government services for both refugees and Kenyan host communities. The government is set to develop and maintain refugee database for planning purposes to further socioeconomic inclusion, participation, and contribution by the refugees. The Declaration on Health, made in Nairobi, and the Mombasa Declaration on Registration of Somali Community have been implemented by government with support of partners. Meanwhile, Kenya has assisted over 80,000 refugees and asylum seekers in their voluntary repatriation efforts, supporting them in returning to their countries of origin to rebuild their lives and nations. I carry with me the wisdom of refugees and host community stories that are a reminder that Kenya's history is intertwined with migration challenges and opportunities. It is a legacy that inspires our nation's approach to refugee management. That is a commitment to transition from traditional camps to integrated settlements under the visionary Shirika Plan. The Shirika Plan is our resolve to empower refugees and host communities alike. It embodies the lessons of our long and protracted refugee hosting history. The Shirika Plan involves a wide range of sectors, including education, water, sanitation and hygiene, health and nutrition, livelihoods, self-reliance, social protection, environmental management and energy, agriculture, housing, land and property, and other durable solutions. Durable solutions like voluntary repatriation remain elusive due to the ongoing violent conflicts and instability in the countries of origin, while resettlement options primarily offered by developed countries are barely enough for most refugees. Furthermore, refugee camps such as Kakuma and Dadaab grapple with significant environmental challenges due to high population density, limited resources, and inadequate infrastructure. These complex issues underscore the need for comprehensive and strategic responses to ensure the well-being of both refugees and host communities. The continuous influx of displaced populations into Kenya demands comprehensive and adaptable solutions to address the enduring issues of displacement and identity. But solutions must consider both refugees and host communities. This is why the government of transitioning from camps to integrated settlements is critical under the Shirika Plan. Why are we focusing on both refugees and host communities in this new policy approach? Kenya has been hosting refugees for many years, and the situation isn't ending. For years, development partners support tended to make the lives of refugees seem better than those of host communities. This scenario led to feelings of exclusion and unfairness in the distribution of resources, necessitating innovative approaches such as the Shirika Plan. The plan therefore aims to ease the pressure on refugee hosting communities in Garissa, Turkana, and urban areas by mobilizing additional financial, technical, and material support in the spirit of the responsibility sharing and enhancing refugee hosting community harmony. At this juncture, I should bring to your attention circumstances that buttress our efforts. First, by end of August 2023, Kenya hosted a total of 644,000 refugees and asylum seekers. Among them, 83% are refugees, 17% are asylum seekers. The increase from July 2023 figures is primarily due to displacements caused by drought. Second, the Dadaab complex, a place of paramount importance in our refugee management efforts, currently houses 364,000 people spread across 75,000 households. Among these, 274,000 are officially registered and verified, while 94,000 individuals profiled and awaiting registration under the jurisdiction of the Department of Refugee Services. These statistics remind us that behind each number is a story of resilience, hope, and aspiration. Our world is undergoing intense shifts from climate-related crises to political upheavals, leading to a surge in global displacement of persons. It is our collective responsibility to provide refuge and opportunities to displaced persons. In the early 20th century, many villages on Kenya's border towns became a sanctuary for waves of those fleeing violent conflict and drought. It is now a melting pot where diverse cultures converge, transcending place of origin boundaries and forging a unique fusion of traditions and identities. Certainly, the challenges faced by those seeking refuge and host communities are immense, but more profound are the bonds of solidarity that form this mosaic of humanity. All work hand in hand to build new lives and also a sense of community. Allow me to share some notable achievements of Shirika Plan. First, the Refugee Act number 10 of 2021 contains transformative changes that align with the Global Compact for Refugees, localized in Kenya through the Comprehensive Refugee Response Framework. This legislation has been referred to by the previous speakers. The Act also safeguards the rights of refugees, asylum seekers, and host communities. It clearly defines responsibilities among all players, government, partners, and stakeholders alike. Secondly, the Comprehensive Refugee Response Framework in 2020, known as the SHARE, Social Economic Sharing by Host Refugees, has paved the way for the Shirika Plan.
Since the 90s, the presence of large numbers of refugees, especially from Somalia and South Sudan, has been very challenging for Kenya. And Kenya has grappled with tremendous challenges in terms of security, in terms of resources, in terms of impact on the environment, due to the presence of these refugees. In fact, at some point, I remember when I took over this office a few years back, Dadaab, the refugee camp for the Somali refugees, had become almost the symbol of a negative model, a non-sustainable model which generated poverty, insecurity, and all sorts of problems. But very early on, I think many in Kenya saw that it was important to change the directions. And the first pilots, in fact, of what we now call integrated settlements happened in Kenya, on the other side of the country, in Kakuma, at the border with South Sudan. And this was really due to the vision of some very forward-looking people in Kenya, the governor of Turkana County, for example, the vision of some donors that supported us from the beginning, the vision of my UNHCR colleagues, including Rauf, who was then representative in Kenya.
Beyond that joint programming, we of course need to align with the support that will be coming from other actors, from the US, from the EU, from the World Bank, from the private sector, from many other member states in the room, and from foundations. It's going to be an enormous lift and a multi-year lift. You can tell we're pretty excited about it with Caroline, who is sitting just behind us here as the leader for UNHCR on the ground. I think you can look to UN Kenya to bring forward a really joined up kind of support and sustained over multiple years. And as I close then, Rauf, let me just pick one small symbol of how that's already happening. There's a fabulous initiative, Government of Japan, Toyota, and UN Women. Up around Kakuma, Kalobeye, they've opened a branch of the Toyota Kenya Academy that is already training women auto mechanics from both the refugee and the host population together. And we're progressively shifting all of the maintenance contracts for our vehicles on ground in Turkana to that academy. So there already you have just in capsule the kind of opportunity to build economic development across refugee and host populations for an extraordinary future.
Actions that are underway are due to recognize the refugee documentation, that is the identification, the identity card, as a document that one can use to access services, to register for telcos, to engage in money transfer, to access employment, to be able to take children to school, and to access National Social Security Fund, which today they enjoy for those who have the ID card. There is also a policy on recognition of prior learning, where a refugee who may have come with a talent, a teacher, a nurse, plumber, artisan, is taken through the National Industrial Training Authority and the Quality Assurance Authority together accredit that prior skill, and therefore that enhances their employability into the country. The National Education Management Integrated System policy is at the draft stage, where the integration of refugees into the National Education Management System will also ensure that the children progressively acquire the skills and are able to enjoy that. Finally, the aspect of the municipalities, all the attendant infrastructure that will come with the municipality in Kakuma and Dadaab will be enjoyed by the refugee and host community, and that enhances the integration, the socio-economic. Finally, the aspect of data. What we are talking about data, we do budgets and planning through data, through statistics. They inform us. We analyze those data so that then we are able to know the demographics and therefore plan for the refugees as we integrate them into the society. It is critical at this time of digital era that as we migrate the data for refugee, as we have the Kenya government data-read database for the refugee, that the rest of the population of the country are enjoying 10,000 services, government services online. Can the refugees also enjoy the same? Yes, it is possible with our database. Thank you.
We need to be clear-minded and clear-eyed, have a good vision here, and realize that challenges remain and are very, very steep. We were just talking about this with the Prime Cabinet Secretary, the challenge of terrorism, which is important in the region, the challenge of fragility in many countries. In both main neighbors, in this case, South Sudan and Somalia, efforts are being made to overcome the cycle of climate change, insecurity and displacement, but the effort is ongoing, so the fragility is still there and needs to be supported in order to overcome. And then, of course, the situation inside Kenya also has aspects of fragility, especially from the climatic point of view, the economic point of view. So all of this needs to be taken into very serious consideration.